Hello and welcome back to another episode of Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie and I'm here with my co-host Sid. How's it going, Sid?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. It's been an interesting match week three. Lots of ups and downs. We'll talk about the downs as the episode goes on. Don't want to start with a negative. So let's start with positive in terms of, for me, that was the best game or the most entertaining game of the week, which was Liverpool and Arsenal. Um, so what were your thoughts on the games? Obviously, I'm going to have a thorough kind of review about the game. What did you think of the game itself?
I liked it. I liked it. I liked the end as well when Klopp and Keane were stepping up to each other. I
That was
like.
right. It's good a bit of banter there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Klopp did get a bit, tetchy there, but
Nah, but do you know what it was? I think because he didn't see the interviews that they were doing prior to him being interviewed, he just heard the word sloppy, so that just
yeah,
got him rattled. Like, who's calling my team sloppy? Like, I just beat the team 3-1. Like, can't call my team sloppy, isn't it? So
yeah. I mean, no, I mean to be fair, he's entitled to his opinion. Both Keane and him,
yeah,
entitled to opinion. But it's a weird one because I think whilst he deserved to win, I wouldn't agree with him where he said he controlled the game from start to finish. I mean,
you don't
there's a
think so? I think we did control it. To be fair, Arsenal weren't really a threat for me. They had moments when they were pressing, but to counter.
yeah,
So they had a few chances with Lacazette, who had a decent game to be fair, but obviously I think Allison played a big role in terms of making those two blocks. And obviously Robertson had that mistake, but I think that helped him revitalize and make up for it later on as he scored a goal for us as well. I think it was a dominant performance. Arsenal weren't really attacking. If I'm honest with you, I feel like we did control it pretty much end to end. Obviously, there are elements of our game where defense could be a bit better in terms of the individual play, um, which is what I think Roy Keane tried to alliterate in terms of we
mm,
had a couple of sloppy moments, which is to be fair feedback. Um, but in general, I don't think Arsenal really troubled us. That goal that they had was a gift, in my opinion. Mane was just unstoppable. Like, I think he's been watching a bit of UFC over the weekend. The way he was just like getting into
yeah.
people,
That
he,
was
like he
a.
looked really pumped up, So
Mm,
I think he's got a bit of a bet going on with Salah in terms of who can score the most goals this season.
how many is he
Um,
on now?
he scored. I think he's on 3 or 4 now.
Mm,
Um,
and
so
Salah.
Salah got a hat trick, and I think he scored one the other day as well, so 4 as well. So they're pretty much neck and neck. Um, But yeah, I was improved with his all-round play. To be fair, Salah did really well as well. Um, Completely terrorized Tierney, who a lot of Arsenal fans are saying is in the same brackets as Robertson, which I just find hilarious because they're nowhere near the same caliber. I think that's just a joke. Just because they're Scottish doesn't mean they're the same caliber in terms of their play.
Do you think he can get there?
When he was younger, he was actually really good. As in, they always thought he would be the next big thing.
Mm,
So he's always had the potential. I think injuries has kind of slowed down his development and his progress as a player. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's a bad player or anything, but I think to compare him to someone who's been pretty much dominant left back in the last 2 or 3 years across Europe he's just had a few handful of good games. It's not really justified in terms of having that comparison.
mm, mm.
But yeah, I think who else had a great game? Gomez for me improved in terms of his in comparison to his last couple matches. He looked a lot sharper. Definitely kept Aubameyang out of the game, who didn't have a shot on goal
Yeah,
throughout
he
the
was
game.
very quiet that day.
Very quiet.
Yesterday.
And I actually read a stat today where the last 5 games he's played against Liverpool, he's never had a shot on target.
A shot on target.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it shows you how we keep him quiet in those kind of games. But in terms of Arsenal, I think they did really well. They had a good shape to them to their team, and they were pretty much well drilled as well. So I think the commentators illustrated in terms of the way they would sort of start their kickoff, where they would pass it amongst each other, was a bit of a risky tactic, but it works for some teams. If you've got the technical players, it works. But for Arsenal, I feel like it added more pressure towards them. as we're a team that's known for pressing. So as soon as the goalkeeper kicks it, we're running and hunting down
Mm,
for that ball. So um, but yeah, I think there were some good performances overall. In terms of the result, I was happy with the result. I think it was a fair result. Considering that Thiago and Henderson weren't playing,
mm,
and then the new guy Jota Shota came in, scored a goal, could have got a hat trick as well. To be honest, uh,
yeah.
he looked the part, so I was really impressed with his inclusion to the game. So yeah, good times for Liverpool. 3 wins out of 3.
Mm, mm.
So what do you think about Arsenal's performance? Is there something you see where, because I think you predicted them being top 4? Do you still stick to your guns in terms of that prediction?
Yeah, I mean, I still see Arsenal being a challenger for the top four. Like, I think if Lacazette had his shooting boots on and
Yeah,
didn't fluff his lines,
yeah.
it would have,
One of the shots was offside though, so it wouldn't have counted. But the second shot that Allison saved, if that had gone in, that would have been a goal.
regardless, I think it would have put pressure on Liverpool. Do you see what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I think that if he stepped up, it would have been a different story. But I do think, against the top six clubs, shall we say,
yeah,
their performances do need to improve. But I think they've got that edge about them where they can close out against the lesser teams,
yeah.
which, I think that was an issue for them previously because I think that's where they lost a lot of their points last season.
Yeah, but they
And
did improve towards the end of the season because obviously they played us a couple times and I think they won both games. Obviously, the Community Shield where you'd think they'd won the Champions League the way they celebrated.
yeah, but it's fair to them. I mean, look, it's a cup
Yeah,
for them, isn't it? Yeah.
I think Arteta's got them well drilled now. I think if that was a Unai Emery team, it wouldn't have worked because they would have tried to challenge us as in player for player. But you need to have certain tactics against a powerful team like Liverpool where you can't play them at their game. So you have to kind of come with a different tactic to try to counter them, and that's the best way to do it. So I'm seeing a lot of improvements in their team.
I think Arsenal will do well. Arteta's actually a great manager, stroke coach,
Yeah,
and he's actually taken players and
yeah,
instilled some confidence because at the end of the day, like you said, under Emery, they wasn't really doing much. And I think
no,
I, I don't rate Arsenal. I haven't rated them before, but I can see that they have improved. And there's still a week left in the transfer window. If they can buy, I don't know, a good DM party or
yeah.
whatever,
Linked with Partey
yeah,
from Atletico, and they also linked with Owa
yeah.
from Lyon,
If they can get
who's a
one of
different,
them,
yeah, different kind of player. Not really a defensive player, but definitely a playmaker, and literally would do so much damage to any defense in the league.
yeah, yeah, 100%. So I encourage that. And yeah, look, I still think they can make top four.
Yeah,
If I'm saying that.
no,
Yeah,
fair play.
yeah.
So let's talk about a negative, which I didn't want to start the episode, but I think it's definitely worth discussing. Is the handball decisions, especially in particular for the Brighton and Man United game and the Tottenham and Newcastle game. So there were a couple incidents in the United game. I think one was with Lindelof, where they got a penalty, and Morpay did that crying celebration as well.
I think,
don't
yeah,
know what you,
sorry, yeah, sorry, go on, finish. And
I
then
didn't know what you, I don't know if that rattled you at all. I think it might have rattled a few fans. I saw a bit of a meltdown on Twitter when that happened. And then the final one where it was in the last minute and then the whistle got blown and then the match had to restart because it was looked over VAR. And the Eric Dyer one for me, which was absolutely ridiculous.
shocking, shocking. I think
What was your thoughts on the United, the two United penalty shouts?
Lindelof, everyone was saying that it hit his arm.
Yeah,
Uh, I don't think that, like as a United fan, I don't think it was a penalty, but it is what it is, isn't it? It was given. We just got to keep it moving. I think the Fernandez goal
mm.
penalty, that was a clear penalty for me. That was
Yeah.
deserved.
It was intent.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
definitely intent in terms of blocking the ball.
yeah. And in the sense that, yeah, he blew the whistle, but it happened within the game. So
Yeah,
unfortunately, this was the last kick of the game. So he's got these right to check. you see what I'm saying? So
I would
regardless of,
argue that maybe the referee shouldn't have, because when they blow the whistle, they have to do it like 2-3 times. He should have just done it as once
oh yeah,
and then gone to review it, because I think the old school way of doing it, if you've blown the whistle, final whistle, it's done. There's nothing that you can come back to. But due to the new rule that is with the VAR and now the handball, which, to be fair, I don't think there's any clarity in terms of the rule for handball. A lot of managers and a lot of players over the weekend seemed quite puzzled in terms of what the actual rules are, which is quite a concern. I think the Premier League will be looking into this week. I think I was watching on TV the other day. There are discussions to try and get that rule back to how it was from last season or previously as well. So, yeah, I think it's a bit of a joke, if I'm honest with you, to see, especially the Eric Dyer one. I think Roy Keane said it was a penalty, which I thought was a bit of a joke, to be honest with you. But there's no way that could be a penalty. He's jumped up. He's touched the ball's hit his arm from behind. Like, you can't really control that. And a lot of Tottenham players as well, I don't know if you noticed during the game, they were actually defending with their hands tied behind their backs, more or less, because of this new rule that's taken place. So, which is unnatural. As a defender, you can't defend like that. It's not impossible, but it's not a natural way of defending,
Yeah, even Gary Neville was talking about it on Sky Sports, and he said that, there was no way you can defend. I think he was mentioning, coming up against like a Raheem Sterling, and your hands are behind your back. First of all, balance is not there.
Yeah.
And secondly, you need to be in a position where you can like at least fend them off. I'm not saying foul them or bring them to the ground, but to have your position like that, arms at the back, it doesn't make any sense. And I think Steve Bruce, I commend him on what he said. He said that the managers will have to come together to sort this out, even though his team's just won. But I don't understand what this whole VAR is bringing to the equation. If simple things like this are still being, are still coming up. And for me, like, VAR was meant to sort and help things out. It's making things worse. It's spoiling football for people, for fans, and yeah, there have been some good decisions based on VAR, but in general, I don't agree with it. And I just think that they need to seriously retrain the refs or whatever, or look at the rules, because it's not working at the moment. And this is going to be a problem for many games are going to be decided with these type of reasons.
Yeah, it's very inconsistent. That's the argument here in terms of the frustration that fans are going through right now. Is that it's very inconsistent. So, and the handball rule right now is still very unclear. So for me, it's something that needs to be sorted out soon, because I feel like it will ruin the game right now. And it's the thing where the Premier League didn't have to take this new rule on board, because in the past we've not followed what other leagues have done. Just because it's something that was mentioned by FIFA, it doesn't mean it has to be applied to our national league. So, yeah, it was a bit of a strange week, to be fair. But hopefully there's some sense this week, and we hear some news that the rules have been changed, or they've gone back to how it used to be.
So yeah, to quickly highlight the United game, I agree that United were outplayed. It wasn't really a good performance, and I can say a lot of things, but when you look at it, we haven't really had a pre-season or a break, if that makes sense.
But that's the same every team, though. Everyone's had a very short pre-season.
Short pre-season, but we haven't had a pre-season. Do you see what I'm saying?
Did you not play any games?
No, we played the week that you guys played Premiership. We played Aston Villa in a game, and obviously we finished later. But again, that's no excuse. Do you see what I'm saying? Because you just got to get on with it. But yeah, if we did draw, it would have been testament to Brighton because of how well they played, and what Potter he's doing with them is amazing. But I'm not gonna lie, I was loving it when Mopé, was the culprit. After his cheeky shenanigans, and then giving away the penalty, his face was just comical, and I love that part.
I like him though.
I like him, but he does need to humble himself a bit, and I'm glad that we scored because of him. So yeah, I was enthralled by that. But yeah, it was a good result for us, regardless.
Yeah. So there was a surprise result over the weekend, which was Man City and Leicester. for me, Vardy was just on fire, and might make a big claim, but I feel like he might be one of the best strikers in Premier League history. And the reason I say that is because imagine him if in the Premier League, if he was like in his early 20s, and like he would just be tearing up all kinds of the records. Obviously, he was a sort of like a late bloomer in terms of his career, but the way he's been so consistent in the last 5 or 6 years, I think, and has been scoring at least 20 goals every season. I'm not saying he's the best, but I feel like he should be in that category, especially in terms of English strikers, hands down. I feel like he should be in that category. But yeah, well, I don't know what your thoughts are about that, because I feel like you can't like put him down in terms of what he has done in the game and how many goals he gets in the Premier League as well, and playing for a team that's not really top 6. Obviously, they've won the league once and they've challenged around Europe, but they're not an established top 6 team. So what's your thoughts on that?
I think he's up there, but I wouldn't say one of the greatest.
Not top 5. I'd probably say like.
I wouldn't say top 10.
You want to say top 10?
No.
Okay.
No, I think I can name 10 easily before.
Go on, name 10 if you can.
Drogba, Van Nistelrooy, Henry, Rooney, Shearer.
Yeah, obviously.
We've got Suarez, Torres. Torres, sorry. Fowler.
Don't forget Torres.
I said Torres.
Oh, I thought you said Torre.
No.
You can add Torre to that as well if you want, but he's not striker, isn't he?
No. That's what I'm saying, striker. Who else is there? I mean, yeah, that's just up.
Bergkamp for me as well.
Bergkamp's there. I mean, look, he's there. He's definitely up.
It's debatable, isn't it? Yeah, probably not top 10. I'll put that back. I just realized how many top strikers.
No, but you're right.
But I feel like he should definitely be in that discussion because of who he's playing for as well. At the same time,
I think he has to be recognised as top striker. Yeah, you're right. Because think about it, Leicester, and you can imagine if he was Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, it would be easier for him to be recognised more because he would have probably won more than just the league.
And maybe playing for England a bit more as well.
Yeah, and I respect him for cutting short.
I do as well.
Do you see what I'm saying? Because, he's not going to just be there to sit on the bench or whatever. So I respect him for that. But yeah, he's definitely, back to your original point, he's definitely doing bits, man.
I agree. Yeah, no, definitely.
Definitely.
What did you think of the match in general in terms of City and Leicester? I think, I don't know if you saw Rodri's post-match interview where he was basically saying, "Oh, that's not how he normally played. They were lucky," as in that shapes. And like, I think that's such disrespect to Leicester, who I feel like played amazing and literally dictated play throughout that game. It wasn't by luck that they won. Obviously, I understand that Man City had a lot of changes through their team, but this is the so-called, best squad in like history of Premier League in terms of the players they have. So that can't be justified in terms of them losing. I feel like they just got outplayed. They got outmuscled in the midfield. In terms of their clinical finishing, they probably wasn't there, but I feel like Leicester just had the right tactics on the day. And then they had a clinical finisher in Vardy, who just, obviously, I know he had a hat-trick of penalties, but it is what it is, isn't it? In terms of you have to try and get those decisions, don't you? So,
like I said, Rodri shouldn't have said that, and I think he's obviously bitter based on the result. But Man City haven't looked strong so far, and whether that's
I'm quite surprised that people still believe they're going to win the league. I'm not saying I'm a Liverpool fan. I don't feel like they're strengthened that much. I know there's been recent stories in terms of them signing a new centre-back from Benfica, Ruben Diaz, for 65 million. But I'm not saying I watch Benfica all the time, but I've seen like bits and bobs of him. He's a bit of a rash kind of defender, as in gives away penalties quite a bit as well. And there's a stat the other day that Pep spent over 400 million in defenders alone. Forget the team. That's just crazy. 400 million.
Yeah, but it's just the times that we're in now, isn't it?
I know, but you can't justify spending 400 million on defenders, and they still haven't done a great job. Cancelo cost them 60 million.
Yeah, yeah, but
That's
it,
mad.
it begs the question: what are they doing in training, or because they're not rubbish players.
No.
These are good defenders, but maybe bar John Stones, but they're good defenders.
That's your favorite guy. Don't say that.
That's your boy, bro.
You've been banging on about saying, I wish he was a United player. Come on now.
God forbid. I'll never say that. I'll take Harry Maguire over him 100 times. Like
What about that, mate?
a
Taking a mick
hundred
now.
million times. But yeah, it's weird because, like I said, it's not a normal amount to spend in the period that he's been there anyway. And to say that's just for defenders is shocking. But yeah, I mean, Leicester, it was a good performance. If they can maintain those type of performances for the season, they'll be in a good shout. But like last season, it will wane off. Just what I'm saying. But Man City, I think this is a wake-up call for them.
Mm-hmm.
Pep won't allow this to carry on. Do you see what I'm saying? And I personally
But is it in his control though? When you've got such a dominant team like Liverpool, who literally haven't slipped in terms of the way they're playing. They're still playing as dominant as they were last season and the season before.
I think it is.
The only way they can improve is probably recruiting another 50 million player or something like that.
I wouldn't say Liverpool would dominate against Leeds though.
No, I'm talking about in terms of overall performance.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
As in, that's not in his control. There's a team that's on their level, possibly even better, in my opinion. So
yeah. I mean,
and we've strengthened as well. Don't forget, we've got Jota and Thiago in and a left back Tsimikas as well. So we haven't not strengthened. We've strengthened dramatically as well.
Yeah, it will be interesting. I don't think it will be a walk in the park for Liverpool.
No, it won't.
But I don't think Man City, based on these two performances, that's how they're going to be for the season. It's not possible.
No, of course not. It's only the first 3 games.
Like it's only the first 2 games for them.
Oh yeah.
So it's not possible. But I do think I have this feeling where it's Guardiola's last season.
Like by choice, or will he get sacked?
No, I think by choice.
Okay.
Like I think he's not used to these type of things.
Yeah.
Barcelona, it was one-man team. I mean, one team competition. Yeah. And then you go to Bayern Munich. Who's challenging them those times? Like he's not used to this level of competition. So, like you're saying, I agree with you. It's out of his hands. Liverpool are just running away with things. So maybe he's seeing defeat and is not going to want to tarnish his reputation even more.
Yeah.
Because the way more and more this carries on, you're going to look at the internet. We're really saying these things about Guardiola, and you just got to think Guardiola, who's won how many trophies? 27 trophies in 12 years.
Yeah.
And you want to talk smack or rubbish about Guardiola?
They call him Fraudiola, isn't it?
Who's got time? How is that even justifiable?
Yeah, that's just disrespectful.
Like I like Klopp, but Klopp's not even on his levels in terms of achievements just yet.
Yeah.
Just what I'm saying. Klopp is matching him now, but he can't rank
with in terms of trophies won. Yeah, like there's only a few managers that can kind of claim that kind of accolade as well. Like you've got your Ancelottis, you've got your Mourinho's, you've got your Fergusons. Like those are the managers that can, stand tall and say that they've been the greatest around their time.
Yeah, and that's where I'm getting at. You have to have that level of respect towards him,
of course.
But Man City need to fix up. Right? I hope Diaz and Ake and Laporte, step up in their defense, because otherwise it's going to be another boring season where Liverpool just win it, because Chelsea's not going to do much.
Yeah.
United's there, but we're not doing anything, So Man City definitely got to step it up a bit.
Yeah, I don't think it's been mentioned that much in the media, but David Silva's a big loss in that team.
Come on, man.
If he was playing yesterday, then I believe literally it would have been a different result, because he would have just kept the ball neat and tidy, and he would have dictated play as well. They haven't replaced him. I know they've got Foden, who's in the wings ready to play, but that's a special talent right there. I feel like they maybe should have recruited a midfielder who can kind of take that burden off Foden as well at the same time, because it's a lot of pressure for him to live up to do it right away, especially when the season's just started. But you know how it goes. If you don't have a great start, the pressure piles up straight away. So interesting times. We've still got a week of transfers, so we'll see if they sign more, like a couple more defenders. I don't know. To be fair, this day and age, they start to throw money around, but we'll see how that goes. And speaking of clubs that like to throw money around, Chelsea surprisingly got the point there. Credit to West Brom. They were just phenomenal in the first half, 3-0 up. And funny enough, it was their kids that saved the day. Mason Mount, Tammy Abraham, and HudsonOdoi. I didn't like Lampard's post-match reaction where he was like, "Oh, it's 2 points dropped." I think you're lucky to get a point, mate, because you were 3-0 down. So it's not 2 points dropped. They were just probably didn't have enough quality to kind of maintain it throughout the 90 minutes. But it's not 2 points dropped if you were losing 3-0,
I think he's saying that more so, and again, it's not really respectful. He was saying that it's the caliber of the team, isn't it? So for them, and they're.
But that is disrespectful, though. Like,
no, I get that. That is
the match rather than the team.
That is disrespectful, but it doesn't. We can't hide from the fact that he is stating the obvious. If you look at it, and even Klopp or Guardiola can easily say.
I don't think they would talk like that,
No, I'm not saying they would talk like that, but you can see what they're saying though. Like, these are top clubs. When you're facing these newly promoted teams,
Even Mourinho wouldn't talk like that, Sid. I just feel like he's got a hint of arrogance.
Mourinho.
No, not in that way. Like, he'll say it in a different way. I don't think he'll be like that disrespectful.
No, I don't think it's this. I personally don't think it's disrespectful. I think he shouldn't have said it.
Yeah.
But he's speaking the truth though. If we look at it, he's stating the obvious. Do you see what I'm saying?
And then behind closed doors, that's what you say to your colleagues or whatnot, as in part of the staff room. But I don't know. I feel like he's got a touch of arrogance about him. Don't know why he has it, but it is what it is, isn't it? That's just how his persona is right now. But for me, it's just good that players like Mount, Abraham, and HudsonOdoi are actually getting minutes as well, because me personally, I don't think they should be. I know to challenge the top, you try to recruit the best talent across Europe and the world and all that kind of stuff. But they deserve a spot in that team as well, and they're on merit as well. So the next fixture that they play, for me, they shouldn't be dropped. They should be maintained in that team as well.
I see Mount. Yeah, I rate Mount, but I haven't seen enough from Callum HudsonOdoi.
HudsonOdoi? Yeah.
I maybe because everyone says he's got potential, but I've watched him a few times. Like, I just don't see it as of yet.
Yeah, I liked his finish, to be fair. I think it was a nice finish. He's definitely got ability. For him, he's probably just staying fit. But he has been linked to a move to, I think, Bayern Munich. So for me, he needs games. He needs to continue that development. And if he's not getting games at Chelsea, going out on loan, even in the Premier League, wouldn't be a bad shout for him. As long as he's getting games, and then Chelsea will end up getting a better player, or if they want, they can sell him on as well. Unfortunately, that's how the transfer market works nowadays, isn't it? But yeah, I think they played really well. I think West Ham had a good game as well. So I think Bilic, had a fiery encounter with the referee last week. You can still see that kind of temperament throughout this game as well. But yeah, I think a point was probably the right result. Well, maybe West Ham could have nicked it, but I think Chelsea played a lot better in the second half. So maybe it was the right result for that. So before we conclude, I just wanted to talk about our fantasy league. So how did you get on this week? Did you manage to update your team this time?
Yeah. So I updated it. Did okay? I think 54 points.
Not bad.
Which was was decent amongst others. Yeah, but it was good. It was good. How about you?
Yeah, I didn't have the best of it. I had 91 points last year. I got 43. So a little slip down in terms of points, but I'm still fifth, I believe, in the league. So So the manager of the week is one of our friends, Daniel, who's literally, I think, just skyrocketed his position as top place. He wasn't, I think it was like within the top 10, but he had a great week with 81 points. So shout out to Daniel. Well done on a good week. Let's see how it goes next week. We're quite competitive here, so I want to try and make sure I can, hit the ground running and get some more points as well. So yeah. So that wraps us up for this episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for listening and watching, and we'll see you soon.